Well, they say lawyers are always stressed. So who stresses us? Take a guess. I'll wait. Wrong, because I don't think you guessed lawyers. Yes, we stress each other, and it's not the lawyer you're dating, other lawyers. So let's talk about men, lawyers' mental health, because June is men's mental health, and I want to look at some of the things which stress us as lawyers. So where I say lawyers are the cause of each other's stress is because out of the 10 people you could directly point to the cause of your stress, I think more than about 7 would be lawyers. So hear me out. It could either be a colleague who is either your junior, your peer, or your boss at work who's a lawyer. It could be a judicial officer in court who's delaying your ruling or is being mean and rude and completely out of line. Or it could be a prosecutor who keeps missing the file which you're watching brief on. Or it could be a regulator, someone who's an enforcer, let's say someone at NEMA, anti-counterfeit, or any of those bodies who's decided to do raids on your client and ambush them and become very unreasonable. Or it could be someone at state law office working in any of these places where they need lawyers, let's say maybe business registration services or registrar of persons or anywhere, and they're delaying or your work has really delayed with them. It could be an in-house counsel at a bank, SACCO, or whatever corporate office. It could be a politician, because most of them these days are lawyers. So yeah, I hope I go to 7, because those are some of the people which could be stressing you right now. Some auctioneers are lawyers also. I think it counts. So let's get on with it. Let's see how these people, these lawyers, stress other lawyers, or could be stressing you as a lawyer. So a colleague, this is, I think, mostly unhealthy competition, and in my experience, it's just that cutthroat, competitive environment for associates in a firm trying to advance in their careers. So there's sabotage, there's just a lot of unhealthy competition habits. Let's say you've worked on a file. We used to place, those days, we used to place our files with our drafts on top of the file in our boss's office for him to review. And you may come find that yours was removed from where he is yet to review and was placed in the pile where he has reviewed. So he's come and gone, and he hasn't looked at your file, and he's not back in a week, and you can't move. So you find your colleague has done that, and that's very mean. Or it could be a judicial officer. You've gone to court, your matter is very stressful, you need orders, and the judicial officer for some reason has the worst of moods, is very rude to you, is disrespectful, embarrasses you, and just gives you a hard time. Or vice versa, you as practicing counsel are over there giving a judicial officer a very hard time. You're unprepared, you're not ready to proceed, or for some reason your whatever application you have in court was just vexatious, just buying time and trying to help your client when they have no case. And you're really giving the judicial officer a hard time. You're accusing them of corruption. You're asking them to recuse themselves. You're trying to do everything to buy time for your client. You want your matter adjourned, and you're giving the poor judicial officer a very difficult time. Or you're in court, you're watching brief, and the prosecutor is not ready to proceed. Why? Because the police file or the court file is not in court, and he didn't bother to check. He is not bothered to get someone to go get it. So your matter gets postponed again, and you have to wait another 4 or 5 months to come back, and your client, the complainant, wanted a quick resolution to this. Or it could be the regulator. So NEMA decides to do raids on your client premises, and they're picking all manner of issues with where your client premises are, the manner of them doing the business, and now they're shutting down the business, and you're rushing there to try to maybe have them give your client time to comply, and maybe give them a warning or something so that they can be compliant rather than shut down their business. And that person is being very unreasonable for whatever reason, and there is your stress. It could be a counterpart in a matter in court or in a transaction. So in court, you're arguing your matter, and those days I remember we used to have physical filing, and you find you're referring to documents filed and they're not there. Yeah, your counterpart has organized for documents to be pulled out, so the court is wondering what you're referring to, and he's passing the file to the clerk to confirm, is this thing really here? And your counterpart is giving you a hard time. Or like they say, when you have facts, you hammer facts. When you have law, you hammer the law. If you have no facts, no law, you bang the table, or you just cause drama in court. So your counterpart is that person that day, being very dramatic and trying to play with your emotions, trying to gaslight you, and you play right into their hands. You get angry. I remember there's this instance where in court with my boss, and one of the counsel in a matter referred to my boss as this guy when he was addressing the court, and my boss just flipped. He was literally pulling this guy's blazer, trying to jump on him, and it was almost coming to fist fights. Yeah, the court had to quickly adjourn for that matter to be cooled off. It could be a politician who's a lawyer inciting squatters to occupy land which they know they have no right to occupy, and that's your client land, and you're trying to get the OCS to get help. The OCS says he needs an order with his name in it, including his wife's initials, for him to move, to go get the squatters out, and you're trying to persuade him to go to the ground, at least calm the situation as you go to court to get an order. And this politician is there making your life hard. So it could be a junior colleague in the office who's just refusing to apply themselves. You've given them an assignment, you gave them time, you gave them a whole week, and when it's due, that's when they come to you and say, oh, by the way, I just didn't manage to do it. And why? We're not taught these things in school. I don't know how to do it, and this thing is due the next day, so you have to pick it up and do it yourself. And that can be stressful. It could be your boss, who's a lawyer also, and for whatever reason they're in the mood of the century, and you see them and there's some feedback you need from them, maybe from documents you wanted them to review, and as soon as you say hi, they lash out at you with all the stress they have, and that demeans you. It's demoralizing, and you just have a bad day after that. So there you go. You see how it could be another lawyer stressing you. And how do we as lawyers just try to be more accommodating of each other, to give each other an easier time, and maybe less stress in this Men's Mental Health Month? We can be more accommodating. I think certainly we can be more respectful of each other, and especially those lawyers who personalize clients' matters and think the matter is belongs to them, and they become very emotional dealing with counterparts. I think my mentor told me that there's no property in a client, and clients come and go. It's your colleague who you will need one day, and they will come through for you. So be courteous to your colleague, even if they're on the wrong. Correct them in a manner which you don't embarrass them. You don't try to expose them, that you know better. Especially some of those lawyers who, when reviewing documents in a transaction, they redline your whole document and send that to you, copying your client, their client, and just make you look very incompetent. And yes, even if your colleague has done that, the quality of the document is not so good, just reply to them and send them your comments privately, and try to teach them and correct them more politely. And I think that will give us an easier time. If you're a judicial officer, please, we're all lawyers. We went to undergrad and did LLB. We went to Kenya School of Law, got admitted, and later on you became a judicial officer, a judge, a magistrate, whatever it is. So whoever is appearing before you could be your former classmate, could be your colleague at the place you worked before you became a magistrate. So be courteous. Remember the pressures you used to deal with when you're in practice or you're employed, and try to just accommodate them, even if they're on the wrong. They're trying to delay a matter, whatever it is. You don't have to be disrespectful, abuse them, and embarrass them in front of the whole court. Just accommodate them and be firm, but you don't need to be disrespectful. And also practicing counsel when you're in court dealing with judicial officers, magistrate, judges, whatever, and maybe also on social media. Remember, these were your classmates. These are people you had normal lives with before they became judicial officers. They're not aliens. They make mistakes. They are prone to all the feelings which you have, fear, anger, and all of them. So sometimes if you find someone is overwhelmed, they're stressed, and they might be acting out of place, also just accommodate them. You don't need to make their life harder. If your matter is not going the way you hope it will, you're not getting the orders you wanted, you don't need to accuse the judicial officer of things they are not guilty of and try to make their life hard. File all manner of complaints which you know are not grounded on anything. They're baseless, just to buy yourself time. Maybe use that to threaten them to get your way, and they're just lawyers like you, trying to earn a living on the other side at the bench. So accommodate them also. For those the in-house counsel, yes, you may be small gods because you give practicing lawyers instructions, you get them paid, and you decide who gets a big brief and a small brief, and sometimes you feel that gives you the right to address them like they're nothing, and you boss them around, you just treat them badly. I think it is not your mother's house, that office, and someone else occupied it before you did, and you will leave and go elsewhere. You might even get fired. The bank might collapse and you have no job, and you come out here to try pick your pieces. So be nice, do your job. If you feel a lawyer, the outside counsel you've instructed, is taking time on a matter or is not as competent as you want them to be, there's a way to correct them. You don't need to write a very, very harsh email and calling out all the shortcomings, all their perceived shortcomings, and trying to get them out of the panel, trying to even get them disbarred. Yeah? Just, you don't need to do anything beyond the correcting if you need to do. If you want to recall instructions, just recall instructions. You don't need to threaten their whole livelihood and copy even the MD. Yeah? So you're a lawyer earning your living on the other side in the corporate world, trying to get up the ladder, get ahead. Same way those in practice are just trying to do that. So be accommodating. And politicians, especially those who are lawyers, you know the law. Some of these things where you come out and incite the public against to do things which are not lawful. You ask them to invade people's private property to get mileage on politics, and then now you give your fellow lawyers a hard time trying to get a solution for that for their clients. If you want political mileage, campaign, do whatever other things politicians do, and those things which are illegal, like invading people's properties, private properties, and you bring goons and you even beat the lawyers when they come on the ground. Let's not do that. Let's give each other an easier time. And yeah, I think generally let's just be more courteous to each other. Let's treat each other better. And like Michael Jackson say, if you want to change the world, look at the man in the mirror. Start with yourself. I start with myself. And we'll have an easier time as lawyers. Bye.